Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and I'm going to be starting my random number generator TBR jar challenge for June. I skipped May because it just did not work out for me at all, and so we're going to start fresh. We're going to have a reset and I'm really excited. So first things first, if you watch my TBR video, which I actually just finished filming, I have 4 books on the docket that I'm going to be starting with. We have The Briar Club by Kate Quinn, historical fiction, World War II based, and an auto by author for me. I've loved all of her books that are World War II historical fiction, and I'm really excited to pick up this one. This is her newest one, and I'm sure I'm gonna like it, so I'm excited to read this one. We have The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet by Jamie Ford. This one is looking into World War II and the internment camps with Chinese Americans and whatnot. So I'm excited to try this one. I've started it before. It's not very long. I started it before and I really liked the first chapter, so I'm excited to do that. And then we have The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. This one is a magical zoo setting, and I was kindly sent this one by Orbit/Hachette Publishing Company, and I have not gotten to it yet. So it is a little bit chunkier, but I'm excited to try it out. I'm really looking forward to it. And then last up, we have The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. I got this one quite a while ago. I've been needing to read it, but I got intimidated when I seen how long the series was and just haven't picked it up yet. I don't remember what it's about off the top of my head, but we'll get there when we get there. I'm trying to do this on limited battery and while my kids are eating breakfast. So those are the 4 books that I will be starting out this week with. But that being said, let's get into our random number generator. So today it is Monday, it is the 2nd of June. So I'm going to set my numbers between 50 and 150. We have kind of a crazy week. It's the end of baseball. We're getting a new fridge brought up tomorrow. So I'm gonna kind of be a little bit easier on myself. So I have it all set up. And so for today, I will be reading 83 pages. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I will be reading 122. Wednesday, I will be reading 104. Thursday, I'll read 138. Friday, I'll read 106. Saturday, I'll read 78. Sunday, I'll read 72. And finally, on Monday, I'll read 124. So that's not a bad batch at all. I like having the smaller numbers on the weekends because I don't always read as much. And the 2 days that are baseball aren't crazy numbers. So I think I can do it. And I've got a really great stack of books that are turned every which way to start out the week with. And I'm not sure what I'm going to start with yet. I'm kind of thinking Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet because this one technically is on my TBR for my TBR jar poll. And so I might start with this one, and it's also the shortest one. But I will put these down in my journal. I'm going to start editing my video for today, and then I will come back and give you guys an update of what I get done, what I start, my thoughts, all that jazz here in a little while for whichever book I end up choosing. Hey guys, so it is 2:11 in the afternoon, same day that I'm starting this challenge, and I have a little bit of an update for you. I started The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. Now this book starts out with our main character, Henry, who he goes to this hotel and realizes that something is going on, and he finds out that it can't possibly be an emergency because there's no like emergency vehicles around. And when he goes inside, he finds out that they found a bunch of old trunks and things like that that were owned by people in the 1940s, in 1942, when there was, you know, after Pearl Harbor and all the things happened with that, when there was a lot of hatred towards Japanese people in Seattle and a lot of problems under those circumstances. So he was 12 years old at the time, and when in 1942, and he actually befriended a Japanese girl named Keiko in 1942 that she disappeared and he never saw her again, but he kind of had his first love with her. And then it switches back to the perspective of him as a 12-year-old boy in 1942 and him meeting Keiko. Now, I am 34 pages into this book. I technically have read 31 pages because this doesn't start on page 1. But while I enjoy the writing is beautiful, it's very descriptive, and I do enjoy that. And you could definitely tell that Jamie Ford knows what she's talking about. He, knows what he is talking about. I am not invested at all. I am 28 years old, and it takes a very specific kind of book for me to read the majority of it from this perspective of a 12-year-old. And this is not doing it for me, unfortunately. So while I like the book, and you could definitely tell that he has done his research, I'm not invested at all. I'm not interested in picking this book up as of right now. So I think I'm going to set it aside, unfortunately, which really sucks. I would like to be loving this. I would love to be super invested, but I'm not. There's the hatred towards the Japanese people, the hatred towards Henry Lee as a Chinese American during this time, and what he is facing without even being a Japanese American person. And I'm just not invested in it. So unfortunately, I am going to be setting this one aside. I wanted to try and get to the end of my pages before I made that decision. However, it's 2 o'clock. I have to leave here in a couple of hours to take my son to baseball, and I don't think I'm going to get anywhere near that amount of number of pages and by that time. This is very, very slow moving, very slow paced, and like I said, it takes a really particular kind of book for me to be invested in a 12-year-old's point of view, and I'm just not, which really sucks. I mean, I got this from a little free library. It still sucks because I did really want to like it. However, I've also moved away from historical fiction so much over the last few years that this just isn't doing it for me, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this and not start out my month on a good note, which is what I'm really wanting for this challenge. So I'm going to set this one aside. We're going to pull this out of here, and then if I finish, or I guess when I finish my next book that's out of the jar, I will count that as my book jar book for my TBR. It's not going to be this one. So I apologize if you were really hoping to hear me talk about this one. It hasn't even finished uploading yet at this point. It's working on it slowly. But like I said, my internet here sucks. So this will be a DNF, and I'm going to move on to something else. What that is, I do not know yet, but for right now, that's where we are. And so I have like 50 pages left that I need to read today, so I will update you with what I start at that point. Hey guys, so I'm back again because I actually didn't think through what I said a little bit ago. I said that I was DNFing this, and then if I read one of my other ones, I would count it for a TBR jar pick, but technically I can't do that because the TBR jar picks that I already have are my extra throws for my TBR. I read the prologue to The Briar Club while I thought this through and was doing stuff on my computer, and it seems intriguing. So it's not set during the 40s, it's set in 1950 to 1954, so it's like right after World War II, the tail end, like right at the ending of that. But I'm curious to keep reading. It definitely started out interesting. It started out with a murder, so yeah, I'm gonna go read. But what's up? Good morning, guys. So this is a little bit different of an angle than what I normally do, but it is 7:22 in the morning, so the sun is trying to blind us all. So I wanted to give you guys an update from yesterday. First and foremost, I did DNF The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. I read to page 34, which was 31 pages, because it doesn't start on page 1. And I thought I would pick another one out of the jar, and I chose Swiss Family Robinson. But once I kind of got to thinking about it, I decided that I am not going to focus on that. I am going to just count the Hotel in the Corner of Bitter and Sweet as a DNF for the month. And then if I have time to pick up another book from the jar, then I will, but I'm not going to prioritize it. So I am going to count it as a DNF for the month for my TBR, at least for the time being, and see how the rest of the month plays out. That being said, I'm not going to read Swiss Family Robinson, at least not right now, because I'm definitely not really in the mood for that one at the moment. I know that I want to read it at some point, but I just don't think that's what I'm wanting right now. But I did end up starting The Briar Club yesterday. This is by Kate Quinn. It's not World War II historical fiction. It is set in 1950 to 1954, so during the time of the Korean War, which I know nothing about. I will tell you that right now. I don't know anything about the Korean War. So this is set during the time where Senator McCarthy is in DC, and they just okay, let me back up. This book is following Briarwood House, and Briarwood House is a boarding house for single women who are working and living in Washington, D.C. Now, the main woman that just moved in, her name is Mrs. Grace March, and she is a widow, and at least from the description in the first chapter, it says that she is around the age of 35. But we are looking at her from the perspective of Pete. Now, Pete is the tenant's or the landlady's son. He is 13 at the beginning of this book, which is kind of funny because I said for the Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet that I didn't want to read from the perspective of a 12-year-old kid. And then I start this one and it's from the perspective of a 13-year-old kid. But the difference is the writing style. It is very much the writing style. So this is a 13-year-old kid who is starting to grow up, and he has these little crushes on all the women that are living in this house. And at the same time, he's having to face the harsh reality of having to grow up too quickly because his father left after he got back from the war. He was there for a while, had some major PTSD, and ended up leaving and not coming back. So Pete is having to face the fact that he is now the man of the house. He's having to take up a lot of extra responsibilities with helping with running the house with his mom and helping to basically raise his little sister because his mom doesn't have time. And it's really difficult for him. His little sister is 9 years old and reads like a 7-year-old. She has a hard time with her reading. She has a lazy eye, and his sister is just having a really difficult time with everything. And so he's idolizing these women in this house because he has all these crushes on them. But now I've made it up to chapter 2, which technically is 45 pages into this book, so I'm not very far into it. But he's starting to come to terms with the fact that he is the man of the house now. His dad is not coming back. His dad doesn't have any interest in communicating with him. He's never responded to letters that he's written. And there's things that he is learning that he can actually do, whether his mom knows about it or not, that make things go better for him or make him feel better about what he's doing. So things like when his mom goes out for the bridge club every week, making the family meatball recipe with the other tenants in the house and his little sister, or helping his little sister make peanut butter cookies so that way she could take them to Sunday school because the kids there don't like her and they call her cross-eyed. And stuff like that. There's things that he's learning. So the perspective of this, it doesn't feel, at least when I was first reading it, I didn't realize at first that he was such a young kid until like the writing style for him changed just a little bit from like the first couple pages as we went along. And then it ends up saying that you know, it's going to be different when he is an adult and not a 13-year-old kid. And then I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. So her writing style is just, I love Kate Quinn's writing style. She just sucks you right in. The prologue of this book is that there is a murder in Briarwood House. In 1954, on Thanksgiving, there is a murder. One of the women end up dead and murdered by somebody who is at the house. And there's quite a few people there. But the thing is that when it's doing that little bit of like the 1954 timeline, it's from the house's perspective. It's the house saying, you know, houses do listen. Houses do laugh. Lights flicker when houses are laughing. And it's kind of odd. It's very different. But I am curious. I am very intrigued. I'm really excited to see. I get the vibes. I don't know if any of you would have seen this movie, but in the movie Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe, they are all women musicians on a train and they're traveling to California, I'm pretty sure. And it has like this camaraderie where like not all the girls always get along. Some of them are more uptight or more kind of wild than the others, but it's that kind of camaraderie of all these women spending so much time together, and they have these little parties in their bunks and stuff like that. So it's totally giving me vibes of that, and that's one of my favorite Marilyn Monroe movies of all time, with Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis. So I'm loving those vibes that I'm getting in this, and I'm really enjoying it. So that being said, yesterday I read about 50 pages. Technically, I read more in the morning before I started the video, but I'm not counting that. So I read 50 out of 83 pages. So I have to add 33 pages onto today. And so my number for today was 122. So I have to read 155 pages today, and I've already started. I've read about 25 pages so far. And like I said, I'm really intrigued with this book. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm excited to keep going with it. It's been a long time since I've read a book by Kate Quinn, so I'm really excited to continue on with this. So I will keep track, and I will come back and give you guys an update later on, which my fridge is going to be here today, and I'm so excited. They're supposed to be here between 8 and noon, which is why I'm talking to you guys now. But yeah, so I'm going to go, I'm going to read, and I'm going to get a new fridge, and then I will check back in with you guys later. Hey, what's up guys? So I have a little bit of an update for you. I have been reading The Briar Club this morning. I have read 51 pages in here so far. One thing that I will say is this book has 50 plus page chapters. It has a very long chapters. I am in chapter 2 at this point. I am 71 pages in, and I won't get to chapter 3 until about 110 pages. So, you know me, if you've watched my channel, I like short chapters, and I am enjoying this. We changed perspectives in this chapter that I'm in now to one of the women that's living in Briarwood House. We're not following, we're not in Pete's perspective anymore. And so I am enjoying it. It's just, I feel like it's very slow going, and I don't really want to rush myself specifically with reading this book. I want to read it at my own pace and enjoy it. I don't want to be rushing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change things up with this video because I don't want to screw myself up by trying to do something that I'm not like enjoying the way that I'm doing things. So I'm still going to try and do my TBR draw challenge. However, I'm not going to specifically do it for these books. I want to try and give myself the month to read these books instead of trying to do it really, really quickly. So I'm still going to keep The Hotel in the Corner of Bitter and Sweet as a DNF for the time being because I'm just, like I said, I wasn't super invested in that one. I wasn't on board with following so much of a perspective of a 12-year-old when the writing style just wasn't really for me. This one, on the other hand, with Pete being 13 in the first chapter, that was okay. I was okay with that, and I think it was the writing style. So I do want to continue this. I am not DNFing this book. I'm not going to DNF this because I am enjoying it. I just don't want to read it all in one sitting right now. I'm slowly working my way through it. So I am going to give myself the freedom to read what I want for the remainder of this. So I have my TBR that I just picked out. I have so many books that I'm excited to get to on my TBR. I am still currently reading Fury of the Gods. I'm about 50 pages into that. And so I'm just gonna allow myself to still do the random number generator for my pages, my page count, but I'm not gonna keep it specifically to a TBR jar challenge. I'm going to give myself the freedom to change things up. If I wanna read 50 pages in Fury of the Gods and then the rest from Wild and Wrangled, for instance, or whatever the case may be, I wanna give myself that freedom. So, like I said, I am still enjoying the Briar Club. I just don't want to rush it. And being so far out of touch with historical fiction as I am currently, I think that's the way to go. So I'm not sure what I want to pick up. I do want to pick up Wild and Wrangled. I do want to pick up A Deadly Education. I don't know. I'm not sure where to start, but I do want to try and start something else alongside the Briar Club. And I want to keep giving you updates throughout the month of kind of where I'm at with the Briar Club, if possible, if I think of it. So that being said, I just wanted to come on and give you guys an update. I'm going to work on some other videos at the same time as this one, I think. So I am going to be doing a vlog with reading just library books. And so I don't know if I'm going to start that this week or next week. I haven't decided. I'm kind of just all over the place with my decision making because I've got a lot of thoughts and a lot of things I'm really excited for, a lot of things that I'm really wanting to get to. So I might do multiple vlogs at the same time, but I wanted to come on and talk to you guys because, like I said, I want this to be successful, and as of right now, I don't think it will be if I try to rush through the Briar Club. I just don't. So we're gonna kind of change gears. Like I said, I've read 51 pages so far today. I had to read 155 pages in total. So I am about a third of the way there, and I'm gonna change gears and I'm gonna pick up something else. Once I decide for sure, I will let you know and come back and update you guys here in a little bit once I've decided that. It is only noon right now, or just after noon, so I have time to read the other 100 pages that I need to, or 104 pages that I need to. I just don't think it's gonna be in this particular book. So we did get our new fridge that we got. It's hard to see, but we got our new fridge. Ignore. I might crop that out entirely or cut that out entirely, but I'm very, very excited. We got our new fridge delivered this morning. They did really good for as far out of town as we are. They were up here first thing this morning. They gave me a window of between 8 and noon, it being delivered, and they were here by like 8:30. So that was fantastic. So now we have a new fridge, and I'm very excited about that. And so yeah, now I'm gonna kind of change gears. I'm going to start something else, do some reading, and I will come back and give you guys an update when I know what I'm going to read and when I actually have something to update you on other than changing gears again. So, good morning, guys. So it is now Wednesday. I was supposed to read 155 pages yesterday, and the last time that I checked in with you, I was kind of having a hard time getting through the Briar Club, so I decided to switch gears. So what I ended up doing, I picked up one that I was really antsy to get to, and so I decided to pick up Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. Now, this is the 4th and final book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. These books read so quickly for me. They are just really sweet, cozy cowboy romances, and this one is following Cam and Dusty. Cam and Dusty were together in high school, and they drifted apart for reasons, you know, life, things happen, whatnot. And now they are kind of being thrown back together again, however many years later, now that Cam has a daughter and her marriage fell apart, or her almost marriage. She was jilted at the altar, and then so she never actually ended up getting married, but she was supposed to get married. She was left at the altar, and now she is having to pick up the pieces of her life and figure out what she's gonna do next. And Dusty has always been kind of a nomad. He travels, he gets the itch to go somewhere new after a while. From the sound of it, it's like he thinks of himself as kind of a snowbird. So when the snow comes, he goes to where there's warmer weather, works at different ranches as ranch hand and things like that. But he's always moving. But now he's back in Wyoming, and he seems like he wants to stay. So we're following their story, and I ended up getting up to chapter 17 in this book last night. So I read 118 pages in this book yesterday. So my total for yesterday was 172. Let me double check that. Yes. So my total for yesterday was 172 pages, whereas I needed to read 155. So thankfully, because I picked up this book, which I'm loving right now, by the way, because I picked up this book, I was able to make my pages without any problems. And I'm so glad that I did that, because I do want to read the Briar Club and I want to give it the time that it's due, but I want to get through my page count. I want to get this video up, and I want to read books that I want to read. So this isn't working out how I originally planned it to, but that's okay, because this is still on my TBR for this month. So that works for me. So like I said, I'm really enjoying this book so far. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it as much as the third book, Lost and Lassoed, because that one was following Teddy and Gus. That one was the one I was most looking forward to. I feel like with Cam, she's always kind of been a background character. Like, she's there, but you don't really know a lot about her. Same with Dusty. He showed up, I believe it was in the second book, more or less. And we don't really know a whole lot about him. But so far, I'm really enjoying their relationship. And I think part of that is because my husband and I got together when we were in our senior year of high school. And so there's just things that I think about, or like that I recognize that make me think of like when we were younger and we were first dating. And it just makes me really enjoy this, because you have a lot of people tell you that, like, because you got together in high school, things aren't going to work out or whatever. And like you don't see that happen very often anymore. It happened a lot with older generations, getting together in high school or right after high school and being together for 50 plus years and everything working out fine. But you don't see that as much now. And so I like seeing that dynamic between these two characters, because my husband and I did get together when we were young, and we've been married for 9 years. Yeah, 9 years we've been married. And so we've been married for 9 years. We've been together for 12, right? I think that's right. It's been a long time. So I like seeing that dynamic between these characters, and it kind of just makes me think of the way things change, and the way you kind of grow up when when you have that relationship with somebody when you're young, and how much you change as a person throughout the years. Because my husband and I, we've known each other since like 8th grade, and then got together senior year. So just a lot of things change over the course of time. You grow up and you change, and you have kids, and then you change even more. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of this. And I love what these books are. They're dual POV. So you have her perspective and you have his perspective. And then they also have the 15 years prior. So I guess it is 15 years. You have 15 years prior when they were together in high school. You get little like flashback chapters. And I like those. But I love the fact that you get both of their perspectives, because I think it is the sweetest thing that makes me like the male main character a million times more in any book that I read that has his perspective, because you get his thoughts and his take on how he feels about her. And I think it's the sweetest thing in the world, because it's just a different look. I think that romance books, they still can be good when they're just from her point of view, but there's just something about having his perspective too that I love it. I think it's the sweetest thing ever. So I'm really enjoying this. My page count for today, I'm supposed to read 104 pages today. And I've already started in on that, because I do have a ton of things that I need to get done. Our fridge that we got yesterday was missing one of the shelves on the door, and so they have one set aside for us at Lowe's, so I need to go and get that picked up today. I need to get groceries today now that we have a refrigerator again and I can actually get cold things. I need to get coffee creamer because that ran out this morning, and I ended up mixing hot chocolate mix in with my coffee just to try and make it to where I can drink my coffee still this morning. And so I need to get coffee creamer, I need to get stuff for groceries, and so I have a ton of stuff that I need to get done today. But I did already start reading. I've read about 33 pages or 32 pages so far. So I am pretty much at the halfway point in this book right now. And it's so good, guys. Like, Cam had such a hard time when she was in school or when she was growing up, because her parents had really, really high expectations for her, and they weren't the kind of parents that gave a lot of love. They were just very distant. And so she had a lot of hard times because of that. And now that she's a mom, she's trying to make sure that her daughter Riley doesn't feel that way like she did when she was growing up. She wants to make sure that her daughter has the best childhood she can. And you really see that because, like, knowing what she has relationship wise, what Riley has with her dad Gus, and with Teddy, and with Cam and everything, it's really interesting to see it from Cam's point of view now. The other thing I wanted to say while I'm thinking of it is, am I the only one who wants a book that's from the perspective of Amos? Amos is Gus and Wes and Emmy's dad. He is the big man in the big house for Rebel Blue Ranch. And am I the only one that wants to get something from his perspective? He is like my favorite character, like side character in these books. He's such a fantastic character, and he's so sweet, and he's so caring, and he just like takes all these characters in. Like, I just read a part in this book where they're all together for the holidays for Christmas. And he stands up and he did this speech that he was saying, when Stella and I got married, Aggie made us this table that you're all sitting at. It hasn't moved from the spot for nearly 40 years. When we first saw it, both Stella and I thought that we'd never be able to fill it with people. It was so big, and at that time it was just the two of us. So today when I look around and see this full table, it makes this old man's heart feel damn close to bursting. Stella taught me that the family you choose is just as important, sometimes more, than the one you're born with. Everyone here is part of that family that Stella and I dreamed about. This man can like say 2 words and make me tear up because he's just so kind-hearted, and I really would love to get a book that's just like an after like final epilogue book type thing that is wholly from his perspective. I would love that. I would eat that shit up. And am I the only one who thinks that? I don't know, but I love his character, and I love being back in this world and in this town, and I'm just having a great time. So like I said, I've read like 30 some pages already today, so I have like 70 some left. I think it's pretty doable with reading this book, considering how quickly that I can get through it. And I read like 100 pages last night before bed, so I think it's pretty doable. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm really glad that I ended up picking this one up and kind of switching gears, because I feel my motivation coming back to get all these pages in and be able to actually achieve my goals for this week. So I'm gonna finish getting things ready to go, get headed to town, and hopefully do some more reading in this today. I will update you. If I have time, I'll update you tonight. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow and let you know what I got reading-wise done. Who knows? Maybe I'll finish this today, but I don't know. I will check back in with you guys later on. Good morning, guys. So it's been a minute since I have filmed anything in here, but it is probably the closest thing to the quietest place in the house at the moment. Everybody's eating breakfast, and you might hear in the background my daughter is screaming at her brothers. So I wanted to come on here and update you. So yesterday I didn't update you anymore after I talked to you yesterday morning, and that's because I didn't read anymore. So I ended up reading a total of, what was it, 33 pages? Let me check. So yes, yesterday I ended up reading a whole 33 pages in Wild and Wrangled. I was planning on reading more after I got home last night. So I did all my running around in town. We went to Lowe's, we went to Target, we went to Safeway. We did some other things in town at my mom's house. And then we came home and I made dinner. We had dinner. I got the laundry folded and put the laundry away and all that stuff. And then by the time that it was getting to the point where I was going to settle in and read, I cannot talk this morning, our power went out. And our power went out for about 4 hours at least. So it went out just before 10. And of course the power goes out. There's nothing else to do. And so we all fell asleep. So I have a book light I could have actually read, but I was exhausted at that point. And so I just gave in and I went to bed. So I read 33 pages yesterday, which means that I made it up to chapter 21, 152 pages into Wild and Wrangled. And our number for today is 138. So I had 71 pages that I had to add on to today from yesterday. So that put our total at 209. I've already started reading. I don't know how well you could tell that. So this is where I left off yesterday. I've already started reading today. So I am up to chapter 30, which is 220 pages into this book right now. So I've already read 68 pages in this. I'm still really enjoying it. I just read a part about him getting a tattoo for her and vice versa. And, you know, I think it's funny because my tattoo on my arm, I don't know how best to show you this. I have my sunflower and lilacs, and then down on my wrist I have a crown. And when I got this tattoo, I got it for my family. So I got it for my family because the sunflower I got for my kids, because when I was a kid I had a sunflower that you'd push a button and it would dance and sing "You Are My Sunshine," and I've always loved sunflowers. So I got the sunflowers for my kids. The lilacs and sunflowers are my favorite flowers, and so that's why I wanted to include those. And then the crown I actually got kind of as like a symbolism type thing for my husband, and then I got my boy's initials in the bottom of the crown. And I love this tattoo. This one was a lot less planned for me than my other one. I only have the two because kids and money and whatnot. I only have the two, but I have plans for more. But I got this one for my family. I do want to add on a rose on the other side of my arm for my daughter. But I just haven't, like I said, with having kids and money and everything, time, it hasn't happened yet. But down the road, I would like to add on to this for my daughter as well. And so that's the tattoo that I got from my family. And they, you know, my husband and I, we've talked a lot about like wanting to do tattoos for each other without doing like names or anything like specific like that, because that's just like karma's a bitch. And so we never wanted to do anything like that. But I ended up getting this one, and I love this tattoo. I get so many compliments on it, and I love how it looks. And even after having it for 6 years now, I love it. I love this tattoo. And so this is what I got for my family, and I love having it, and I do want to add on to it. So it just kind of made me think of my tattoo and the reason that I got my tattoo. And so that's kind of fun. But like I said, I already read 68 pages today, so I am pretty well on my way to making 209 pages today. I think it's totally achievable. I don't have anything specific planned for today. It's not even 8 a.m. and I've already read almost 70 pages. So I'm off to a great start. I am planning on finishing this today, so I'm going to keep reading this. I don't have a whole lot left. That's all I got left. And I know that there's like bonus content in here because of it being the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition or whatever. So I know that it's not quite that long, but I don't have too much of this left. So I'm going to finish this one out. I'll let you know once I finish it, my final rating for it. I know it's going to be at least 4 stars, that's obvious, but I don't know if it'll be 4 or 5. We'll see. We'll see. But I do really enjoy this one right now. And then I will have to decide what I want to pick up next, whether it be another romance or something else that's on my TBR. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't continued anymore with the Briar Club at the moment, just because I have been focusing on this. I have a tendency to like start a whole lot of books and then I get into one of them and I focus just on that one. I did the same thing with starting Fury of the Gods and The Reluctant Queen at the same time. I kept reading the Fury of the Gods a little bit. I'm like 50 pages into that. But then I got super into The Reluctant Queen and I haven't picked up Fury of the Gods since then. So I do need to go back to that. It's not on my TBR, but I do need to read it. It was on my TBR last month. I really, really want to finish it because I love that series. So I might end up going rogue a little bit more and going back to that one, but I haven't decided yet. So either way, I'm going to keep reading this. I'm already talking for 8 minutes, but I'm going to keep reading this and I will come back, give you my final thoughts on this book and let you know how much left I have to read, how many more pages I have left to read, and then we will kind of decide what I'm going to read from there. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to be in the mood for after this one. Probably some kind of a romance, whether it's romantasy or pure romance for Under Lock and Key. I don't fully know, but that one has fantastical elements too, doesn't it? Either way, I'm going to go finish this now, and then I will talk to you guys in a little while. Hey guys, so I am back. It is almost 2 o'clock, and about an hour ago, maybe actually a little bit more than that, I finished Wild and Wrangled. I loved this. So I was debating towards the end if it was going to be a 4, a 4.5, or a 5-star. The reason being, the smut in here, the sex scenes, were cringy. I don't like all the commentary between the couple while they're doing it. I don't. The communication is great. The extra commentary, the dirty talk, etc., it doesn't work for me a lot. That was the big problem that I had with the first book, was I didn't like that. The other thing that I wasn't super thrilled with was the end of the book conflict. Really made me mad. It really annoyed me. However, it was solved and worked through very, very quickly, which I do like with that. She does the conflicts that are kind of tropey in these romance books, but she has them work it out like adults and work it out reasonably, and it moves through it quickly. But the scenes in this book where Riley is involved, I don't know why I was worried that I wouldn't like this book as much as the others, because it's Riley's mom and Dusty. So I loved Lost and Lassoed, that was Riley's dad, Gus, and Teddy. And this one is Riley's mom, Cam, and Dusty. And I love Riley, in this book, because I know a lot of people don't like kids in books and whatnot, and Riley is Gus and Cam's 7-year-old daughter. She's a first grader, I believe. And I love her character. I think she is a smart, sweet girl that she's a bright light in the lives of this family, and you can tell that in these books. And I loved the interactions between Dusty. Sorry, my daughter got a Minnie Mouse that sings. So I love the interactions with Riley and Dusty, just like I loved the interactions between Riley and Teddy in the last book. This one had it as well, with them getting together and her being such an important part of Gus and Cam's lives, because obviously it's their daughter. So she's such a huge part of it. And so seeing the connection that she ends up having with Dusty when Dusty goes in to the house to help her reach a fruit roll-up, and they end up hanging out on the couch and watching Pawn Stars. I loved that. I still wish that we had some kind of a full-blown wrap-up of this entire series, like an add-on to this series that is from Amos's perspective. I really would love that. I think that would be such a fun way to kind of get a glimpse into the future of the Rebel Blue Ranch and all the things that these characters have built here and the lives that they've created. I would love that. But I thought this was a good book. I liked it just as much as the others. I still think that the first book, Done and Dusted, was my least favorite of the series. But I wonder if I go back and if I reread the series, now that I know the characters and I love the characters as much as I do, if I would bump it up from a 4-star to a 5-star. I don't know. But I have really enjoyed this series, and I'm so glad that I read it. And I'm so glad that I read it. So I did finish this one, and with reading the bonus chapter at the end of this book, my total page count for today so far is 191 pages. So if you, I'm sure, recall from my last clip, I have to read 209 pages today. So I am 18 pages away from meeting my goal for today. So that's going to be super easy. And I think that the book that I'm most intrigued to reach for next is another romance that I have been really wanting to try ever since I first heard about it. And that's Under Lock and Key. This is by Lana Ferguson. I've never read anything by this author before. I have another one of her books. I just haven't read it yet. But when this one came out, I really wanted to try it, and it's set in Scotland, which automatically grabs my attention. And I don't really know a whole lot about this. All I know is that it's like a paranormal type romance. And all I know is that it's like a paranormal type romance book. He is somehow included with a Loch Ness Monster, which you can't see it on this cover because of the sticker, but it does show it in his shadow. And so this one, it says, a woman discovers that not all monsters are her enemy. The opposite, in fact, in this new paranormal romance by Lana Ferguson, best-selling author of The Fake Mate. Kiana Key McKay is used to secrets. She was raised by a single father who never divulged his past, and it's only after his death that she finds herself thrust into the world he always refused to speak of. With just a childhood bedtime story about a monster that saved her father's life and the names of her estranged grandparents to go off of, Key has no idea what she'll find in Scotland, but repeating her father's mistakes and being rescued by a gorgeous, angry Scotsman who thinks she's an idiot is absolutely the last thing she expects. Lachlan Greer has his own secrets to keep, especially from the bonny lass he pulls to safety from the slippery shore. A lass with captivating eyes and a last name he's been taught not to trust. He's looking for answers as well, and Key's presence on the grounds they both now occupy presents a real problem. It's even more troublesome when he gets a front row seat to the lukewarm welcome Key receives from her family, the strange powers she begins to display, and the fierce determination she brings to every obstacle in her path, things he shouldn't care about, and someone he definitely doesn't find wildly attractive. When their secrets collide, it becomes clear that Lachlan could hold the answers Kiana is after, and that she might also be the key to uncovering his. Up against time, mystery, and a centuries-old curse, they'll quickly discover that magic might not only be in fairy tales, and that love can be a real Loch mess. So it sounds really good. It sounds really cute. Like I said, I'm automatically intrigued because it's set in Scotland. I read the first little paragraph in this book, and I'm definitely intrigued because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with this one or not. But it says, I never imagined that my death would come by way of a sheep avalanche, but as I watch the tumbling mass of floof barreling down the hill toward the stretch of road I'm currently stalled on, it occurs to me that it would at least be a memorable way to go. So I'm definitely intrigued. So I think I am going to start this one. I'm going to read the first bit of this. I don't know how far I'm going to get. Like I said, it's only like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what time my husband's going to get off of work tonight, but I have dinner prepped and ready to go. And so I don't really have a whole lot that I need to get done this afternoon. So I am going to, I think, start in on this one, and we'll see how this goes. This is another one on my TBR, so it's a perfect way to continue on with this without picking more books out of the jar, because apparently that's not working for me at the moment. But I am excited to read this one. So I will check back in with you guys once I get started, and we'll see how far I can get today. Hey, what's up guys? So technically I filmed this update this morning, but it was very, very loud and I didn't have my tripod set up, so I'm sure it's gonna be super duper shaky, so I'm just gonna start over because I haven't read any more since then. So yesterday I was supposed to read 200, yesterday I was supposed to read 209 pages. I did that. By the time that I finished Wild and Wrangled, I only had like 20 or so pages left that I needed to read. So I ended up just picking up Fury of the Gods and continuing on with that one. I am in the middle of reading that one. Not in the middle of, I'm like 15% of the way through, but I'm like 75 pages into that one now, I think, and want to continue it. Even though it's not on my TBR, I do really need to actually read that book and really sink my teeth into it, and so that way I can get through it and finish out that series. I've absolutely loved it so far. So I did end up reading 218 pages yesterday, so I did meet my goal. My goal for today is 106 pages. Today is Friday, and I tried this morning to start A Deadly Education, and I couldn't even make it through the first chapter. The first chapter, it goes up until 24 pages, and I did not like it at all. Whoa, look at the pretty pictures. And I didn't even make it that far. I did not like it at all, and that's really unfortunate. I was really hoping that I would, but I felt like there was no setup whatsoever. She was just like naming all these people and talking about all these things, and I had no idea what was going on, and I didn't really give a shit. She was talking about how she hates this guy Orion because he saved her for a third time and he's really like cocky or whatever, and I don't know, I just did not like it at all, and I did not want to continue. So I am DNFing this one, and I'm just gonna unhaul it. And so I have, this one was my TBR pick for an Instagram pick. It was on Kayla's feed for her wrap up, for her monthly wrap ups. I did have a backup though for Divine Rivals, and so I might pick that one up instead of this one because this one just really did not work for me. I know a lot of people love Divine Rivals, and so I got it really wanting to try it, and I just haven't picked it up yet. So I might try and slot that one instead of this one. Whoa, you're such a good artist, baby. You look so good. So I might try and slot Divine Rivals in instead of A Deadly Education because unfortunately the beginning of this just did not work for me at all. And if I really have that much dislike for the book before I even get to chapter 2, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We're not going to waste our time doing that. So I will be unhauling this one, and it's just, I know a lot of people absolutely love this book and love this series and love Naomi Novik. But I think that I've just moved far enough away from YA stuff that I just didn't have, I was really weary going into it, and then the way that it started out, I just didn't like it. So we're just gonna move on. I did end up starting the first chapter in Guild. I read the first chapter in this morning. I'm definitely intrigued. So this book starts out where there is a girl in a cage. She is... Whoa. She is the prized possession to King Midas. And it starts out where she is literally in her cage having to watch him with all of his concubines enjoying themselves. You know, hint, hint, wink, wink. And so that's how the book starts out, and she's watching them. Or she's having to like witness it, but she's in this cage. And then we find out at the very end of this first chapter, it says, when people look at me, it's not to appreciate the curve of my shape or to decipher the thoughts in my eyes. No, they're only preoccupied with one thing, and that's the luster of my skin, because it's gold. Not golden, not tan, not painted or dipped or dyed. My skin is real, shimmering. Whoa.
What's that?
The wind. My skin is real, shimmery, satiny, gilded gold. I look just like everything else in this palace. Even my hair and irises glimmer with a metallic sheen. I'm a walking gold statue, everywhere except for my gleaming white teeth, the whites of my eyes, and cheeky pink tongue. I'm an oddity, a commodity, a rumor. Yeah, it's the wind. I'm the king's favored, his prized saddle. The one he gold touched and keeps in a cage at the top of his castle. My body bearing the mark of his ownership and favoritism. The gilded pet. I'm the darling of King Midas, ruler of Hybel, and the 6th kingdom of Oria. People flock to see me just as much as they come to look upon his gleaming castle, worth more than all the riches. Yeah, it's the wind. Upon his gleaming castle, worth more than all the riches in the entire realm. I'm the gold-plated prisoner, but what a pretty prison it is. So it's definitely got me intrigued in that first chapter, and I am excited to continue on in this. Hopefully, I will be able to get some pages read. I will give you an update probably tomorrow on how far I actually get, but I'm very excited to continue in this one. Good morning, guys, and happy Saturday. It is now the 6th, 7th of June, whatever. It's Saturday, and I guess I have it right in front. It's the 7th of June, and yesterday I was supposed to read 106 pages, but like I told you yesterday, I didn't get a whole lot of reading done because I just had enough that I was doing in town and it never happened. So my total by the end of last night before I fell asleep was 46 pages. So not great, but it was what it is what it is. There's only so much I could do. So that being said, my number for today is 78. So adding on the 60 pages that I did not finish yesterday, I need to read 138 pages today. I have been continuing on in Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne because, like I said, I do really want to just stick with this, quit getting distracted, so I can finish this one because I love this world. I love John Gwynne's writing. This one and the Faithful and the Fallen series were absolutely amazing. 5 stars. And so I am up to 110 pages in this one now, and there's a whole bunch of different battles going on at the moment and characters that are betraying others or going after others, and it's been a really great time. So this one is following especially Orca and Varg. Those are the 2 main characters that I've really enjoyed. Orca is a woman who lives with her husband and her son in a remote village or in a remote area, and Orca comes home one day to find that Orca has been murdered and her son has been stolen. Or not Orca. Orca comes home one day to find that her husband has been murdered and her son has been stolen from them. And she, being a mom, goes after her son to try and get him back and bring him home. And a lot of things happen after that. Varg, sorry, I'm adjusting. Varg is a slave. He's what they call a thrall. And he is a slave that he kills his master, his owner, and then escapes. And he's trying to figure out what happened to his sister. He believes that his sister is dead. He has a feeling just in his gut that his sister is dead. But he wants to know what happened, and he wants to seek vengeance for his sister and the horrible things that have been done to them. He ends up joining the Bloodsworn, which is a group of fighters who are all what they call tainted. They all have some kind of a god's blood in them. There are specific gods in this. There's the wolf god Ulfrir. There's the Grifa, who's the dragon god. There's Snakovic, who is the father of them all, which is a snake, obviously a snake. And there are others. So there's Radha, the rat god, things like that. So they all have different kinds of animals mixed in with their blood, whether that be wolf, dragon, rat, boar, bear, different animals. So it's really interesting, and it's definitely a fantastic magic system. It's a little bit complicated and it's a little bit hard to explain because obviously this is the 3rd and final book in the series, so I don't want to say too much about what's happening, but those are the 2 characters that I have absolutely loved following their journey through these books, and I'm so excited to see what happens in the rest of it. So I'm going to keep reading this today. I figure if I have to read 138 pages, that'll put me about 250 pages in, so about halfway through, because you figured that's 250, so it'll put me about halfway through this book. If I can, I would love to finish this book in this video, because that way it's at least still finishing a book that I own that I really wanted to get to, and then I'll have finished 2 series for this video between Wild and Wrangled and this one, which is great. They're books that I've been wanting to get to and needing to read, and So it's just, I think that would be a really great way to start out this month. Have some really great 5-star reads. Obviously, I will be continuing in with The Queen of Sorrow later on this month once I get my hands on it. I haven't had a chance to go and get it yet, but I should be getting that one hopefully here soon. So that will be another one that I'll finish out a series. So hopefully this month will just be like finishing a whole bunch of series that I've been wanting to get to. Maybe I'll throw in Republic of Thieves at some point, but don't bet on that because it hasn't happened yet. So either way, I'm going to continue reading this one. Like I said, I have 138 pages to read today. I have not started reading yet, but I wanted to come on, let you guys know what's happening because I have a sort of quiet house at the moment. And so yeah, I'm going to go read and we'll see how far I get in this today. Who knows? Maybe I will get super invested in it and I'll end up reading 200 plus pages today. Cross our fingers. But I will come back and I will talk to you later, give you updates either tonight or tomorrow on where I sit for Fury of the Gods and my page count for today. So I will talk to you guys later. Good morning, guys. So it is now Tuesday, officially at the end of our crazy week, completely. So I did not complete my challenge, and at this point I am just gonna kind of end it here, I think. So the last time that I really gave you guys a decent update was Friday. So Friday, I was off to a good start. I read a decent amount, and I was supposed to read 106 pages on Friday. I only read 46. So there we go. Saturday, I was supposed to read 78 pages. So that plus the 60 pages that I had left over from Friday put me at 138 pages. And guess what I accomplished? I am planning on adding in a clip, but I did not read at all on Saturday. So 138 pages. Adding that on to Sunday's pages, which was 72, that put us at 210 pages for Sunday. I read 19. Do you see why I'm kind of just letting this one go? I'm kind of just letting this one go by the wayside here. We're just going to end this one. So yesterday, Monday, I was supposed to read 124 pages. You add in the 191 pages that I did not complete from this weekend, and I was supposed to read 315 pages yesterday. I did all right, but that didn't happen. Okay, so I read 131 pages yesterday. That puts me 184 pages behind. And at that point, with the way that my day is looking, that's just not reasonable. And I don't want this video to go on for an extra week. So I'm going to end things here. The last time I talked to you, I was reading Fury of the Gods. And I'm still reading Fury of the Gods. I am over halfway through it at this point. I am on chapter 45. I am almost 300 pages into this. I'm loving this. I'm really enjoying it. However, I will not be finishing it in this video. I can tell you that there is a 90% chance that this is going to be a 5-star read. This is the third and final book in this series. The first 2 books are 5 stars. I love this series. I love John Gwynn's writing. I love his fantasy books. He has such an incredible way of having a whole world full of people and characters and creatures that are just so well thought out. I don't know how he does it. I really don't. How he follows all these different timelines and interconnects people and all these different things going on. I don't know how the hell he keeps it all straight, but he has my wholehearted favoritism. Like, I love this author. I love this author. So I'm not finished with it yet, but I can almost guarantee that this is going to be a 5-star read. So, you know, I mean, you're not, I can't tell you a lot about this book anyways, because it's the third one in the series. And since I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 5-star book, I mean, you're not going to really miss a whole lot if I'm not giving you updates as much as I could be. So that being said, I am still reading this. I do want to finish this here in the next day or two, but it just kind of depends on how things play out. But I will finish this book. I'm finally getting to it. I got sent this book back in November from Orbit/Hachette Publishing. They sent me a finished copy of this book, and I'm so thankful for that. My husband read it first, and now I'm finally reading it, and I love the series. Like I said, I love John Gwynn's writing. So this is where I'm at. I'm really close. Things are really starting to amp up, and the final battle is coming, and it's great. So that being said, I am going to continue this, but I'm not finished with it yet. So let's kind of move backwards. So the first book that I started trying to read in this video is The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet by Jamie Ford. Now, this one is following a 12-year-old boy who is a Chinese American, and it starts out where he's an older man, but it goes back to when he's like 12. And this one is all about how he basically finds a friend and a first love in this woman, or in this girl named Keiko, and she is Japanese American. And it's the trials that they go through during the 1940s with Pearl Harbor and World War II and whatnot, and all of the hatred towards Japanese people in America at that time because of Pearl Harbor. So looking at this one, I read the first like 30-some pages of this, I believe, and I just didn't vibe with it. I didn't vibe with the writing style. My battery is going to die again. I have new ones ordered. They're just not here yet, so I'm going to change my battery before I keep talking. Sorry, I'll be right back. This was full battery before I started. Okay, so we were talking about The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. This one just didn't work for me. So while the first couple of chapters, I really enjoyed. It was him in 1986 looking back on that time. And I was really interested in the differences in the culture and how he was growing older, losing his wife, and dealing with things like that. And I was really interested to start with. However, when it went back to the perspective of a 12-year-old, I just didn't like it. I feel like from being a 28-year-old, reading from a 12-year-old's perspective, it has to be done in the right way. And this was just not clicking for me. I thought that the premise was really interesting, and I was definitely interested to start with. It just being so much in that perspective, I just wasn't interested. It was all about him getting bullied in school and how he makes his first friend in this girl because he's in an all-white school. And it just didn't work for me, which is why I DNF'd it, which is really unfortunate because I really hoped that I would like this. And it's not very long, but I just wish that there was more back and forth between the 1986 perspective and the 1940s perspective, rather than just being like 99% in the 40s when he's 12. It just didn't work for me. So I did end up DNFing this one. I think I read like 33 pages or something like that in it. It just, like I said, it just didn't work for me. I think it definitely could work for some people, but for me, just reading from that point of view, it wasn't clicking. So after that, I tried to pick up The Briar Club. And the funny thing is that The Briar Club, chapter 1 in this book, actually starts out from the perspective of a 13-year-old boy. But the difference is, I didn't immediately realize that he was 13 until it pointed it out to me and said, when I grow up and be a man and not a 13-year-old kid, and it was like, okay, this makes more sense. But it doesn't read that way. And Kate Quinn had a really good way of writing that perspective, that it was him watching these women. There was part of him that had crushes on them, and at the same time he was making like his own little community and coming into himself as a young man. So this one worked for me. However, this book, I have not read like full-on historical fiction in a long time and gotten super immersed in it. And this one has 50 to 100 page chapters in this book. So there's no like really good chapter breaks, which is difficult for me. As a mom of 3, so my daughter is coming in here to sit with me. As a mom of 3, I like having those chapter breaks so that way I can have a really good stopping point for pausing my reading with having the kids running around. And this one, it just didn't have that as much as I hoped for. So while I am going to continue reading this, I'm not DNFing it. I just wanted to put it down for now so that way I could take my time reading it and give it the attention that it deserves. So let me scoot her over. So while I'm not DNFing this one, I did set it aside for the moment, just that way I could kind of slow down with my reading of it and give it the attention that it deserves, because I love Kate Quinn's writing. I think she is a fantastic author, and she writes her historical fiction so well, and she writes all these really powerful women characters, and I think she does a great job. I just want to give this the attention that it deserves, and I don't think I was doing that by trying to read 150 pages in a day. So I am still reading this. I did make it up to, not super far, I guess, but I did make it 70 pages into this one, and then I just decided that I wanted to slow down with it. So I am still currently reading this one. I'd like to continue it, but I'm going to give myself a little bit more freedom to continue with it. So I do want to go back to it. I did really like the perspective of our main character as a 13-year-old, looking at these women and like kind of having a naive, innocent point of view to start with. And then we switched perspectives in chapter 2 to one of the women living in this boarding house. So what this book is about, it's set in 1950 in Washington, D.C. And there is a boarding house called Briarwood House. And there's a group of women that are living in Briarwood House that they work around Washington, D.C. They're single women, mostly. And they are living in this boarding house with the beginning of the Korean War. And what they hear in the first chapter is the announcement that the U.S. is going to get involved with the Korean War, or getting involved with it. And that's about as far as I got. So there's not a whole lot, but they started having these like these dinner parties every certain night. I think it's Thursday night of the week, when our main the boy, what's his name? When Pete's mother is out at her bridge club, his mother is the one who owns the boarding house. And so when she's out at her weekly bridge game, trying to win some extra money, they have a dinner party. Him, Pete, and his little sister, and the rest of the women in the house, they all end up having a dinner party where each one takes turns cooking food. So there are recipes throughout this book, at least what I read, which is really fun. And I really like that idea a lot. I think it's a really fun and interactive way to go through this book. And I'd like to do something with that too. I want to try some of these recipes. Like one of the first ones is meatballs. And so I don't know. I really liked this book to start with. It wasn't the time for it. So I did set it down for now. But I will be continuing on in this one for sure. The next one that I kind of sort of talked about is I read the first chapter in Guild, and this one, like I said, it wasn't one that I continued on with in the moment for this video. I read the first chapter. It was definitely really intriguing. So basically what it is that this girl is in a cage, and she is watching the king and his concubines get it on, and she's in a golden cage watching. And that's how this book starts out. So it's very strange. But apparently, she is in this cage because she is the king's most prized possession, because the king is King Midas. And this girl, our main character that's in the cage, is actually his prized possession because King Midas has touched her and turned her to gold. So she is a living embodiment as a gold woman. And so I'm definitely intrigued to continue this. This is on my TBR for the month, so I will be continuing it. I just didn't for this video. So there's that. And then I also picked up Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. Now this is the 4th and final book in the Rebel Blue Branch series. I gave this 5 stars. I loved it. I thought it was so cute. I loved the little sections with Cam and Dusty when they're really like having their deep conversations, and then when Riley gets involved, which is Cam's daughter, when she's involved and you see her interactions with Dusty. I love that. I know a lot of people don't like kids in books, but she was a small enough part of it that I really enjoyed those parts. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't completely centralized around her, but you could definitely tell that Cam is a good mother and that her daughter is super duper important to her. And so you see that in these books, but she's not like a central point, you know? And so I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really cute. I liked seeing the kind of high school flashbacks of Cam and Dusty's relationship back then. and how they've kind of progressed and are looking at things 15 years later now that they're kind of thrown back together. And I really enjoyed this one. I know this one's been really mixed. I didn't know if I was gonna like this one as much as Lost and Lassoed, and I don't know if I liked it as much, but I did really enjoy it. So I gave this one 5 stars. I thought it was great. And now I am going to be trying to pitch the idea of us getting an epilogue type book or novella or something from Amos's perspective, because I really, really want his perspective in this book, or in a like follow-up, because it says that he's content with having his family and his life the way it is, and he's not looking for love as the father of all these kids. But he's such a fantastic character and such a great father figure that I love his perspective, and I love how much he cares about his kids and his adopted family. And so I really want like a follow-up from his perspective. So can we get that, please? Like, am I the only one that wants that? Because I really hope not. But yeah, so I gave this 5 stars. And then, like I said, I'm still reading Fury of the Gods. So that is it. This video has been an absolute chaotic mess of reading some things, not reading others, finishing some, starting others. It's been absolute chaos, but I really hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And if you've read if you've read Wild and Wrangled, like, do you agree? Would you like some kind of a follow-up for the series from his perspective? I think that would be a lot of fun for everybody that loves this series, and I know a lot of people do. So please let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.